Hi guys, got everything going here. We're just a little bit early before we jump on for our real estate questions answered session here. This is, I think, our third or fourth one for today. So it's the beginning of September. So we've had kind of an interesting August. So I'll just give you a quick market update kind of before we jump into the questions that were sent in already. So the market was not looking super hot. It kept kind of going down and slowing for the first couple weeks of August. And then it's kind of kicked back up. So we're seeing buyers come back. We're kind of balanced out. We've stopped getting a flood of new listings, which is great. And we've seen our buyer demand pop up a little bit. So I know that's going to be pretty wiggly. So as long as rates don't do another massive hike, immediately here, I think our buyers are going to be a little bit more comfortable with what these rates are looking like, what these payments are looking like, and what some of the negotiations mean for buying that rate down. So we're seeing things kind of stabilize. In some markets, there's even less listings. When I ran numbers yesterday, Chandler has fewer listings this month than it did last month. And a lot of them have kind of stabilized. So those are all really good things for our market. So we've got 3 questions that kind of came in here. And so we'll just kind of jump in really no random order. Number 1, how do you start investing? I got that question a couple of times. So it really depends on where you're at in your life and what your goals are. What we tell first-time homebuyers is that you can jump in right now and be an investor if you choose. You just have to be very strategic on what that first home is that you buy, and make sure that you're buying in an upward trending neighborhood with mostly fixed costs. So HOAs aren't super exciting when you can't control what that HOA fee is, or if there's an HOA assessment, things like that, because that will all impact your cash flow. But if you're a first-time home buyer and you can jump into a home that would be a rental, you can keep that house and buy your next home as a primary residence without having to put investment dollars down. So you can buy that with just 3.5-5% down with some of those lower programs. If you're VA, you can do your VA program again, depending on what your eligibility numbers look like. So we can have conversations about that if you're VA, but you can have more than one VA loan. A lot of people don't know that. So that's kind of step 1. If you already own a house and you like your house and you're looking at buying a secondary investment property, then what you want to do is do a ton of research, figure out what your budget is. And then even if that budget doesn't match housing here in Phoenix locally, we have other opportunities in other markets to go out and find some really great cash flowing properties. So a lot of Central America, so places like Minnesota, Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma, some places in Texas, that kind of stretch of the country doesn't have a whole lot of really high priced real estate, and they don't have the crazy appreciation like we experience kind of on the coastlines. So you can though, they do have really high rents. So you can capitalize on that with your lower upfront costs and your higher rental rates. I was also asked about kitty condos. I don't know if you guys know about that. Tempe is a college town, so we have a lot of kitty condos, and that's where a parent comes in and can buy a property for their child to live in without having to put down investment 20 to 25% down payments. So you can buy that, and it's technically designated as a qualified family member is going to reside in the property. But it functions as like, I think it's a 10% down payment, and I'm might be wrong on whether or not you can go to 5, but I'm pretty sure it's a 10 at least. But basically you can do that, which is a lot cheaper than student housing. Then you can rent out the additional rooms to some of their friends for cash flow to offset that payment. And then if you choose to keep it as a rental when they're done with school, fine. If you want to sell it then after 4 years, and basically get all your rent back that you would have paid into student housing or an apartment complex or whatever. So that's kind of a cool way to get into investing as well. We got the question, I think this was actually from last week, not this week, but the question was, what's the difference between a lender and a realtor? So a lender is going to be solely focused on the financial picture, and your realtor is solely focused on the transaction and your house hunt or your sale. So it's kind of we work very closely together, but those are kind of the wheelhouses. The third person that's involved in a transaction is going to be your escrow officer once you go under contract. And that person is going to be pulling your title commitment, your title insurance policy. They're the money reviewers. as far as who gets what money and what those line items are. Then we get the question a lot, and so I thought I'd throw this in here. What's the difference between an inspector and appraiser? An inspector is the one that you hire to go through the physical condition of your house, like checking plugs, outlets, AC, peeking in the attic, walking your roof, that type of stuff. And the appraiser is actually there just to justify the value for the lender, to make sure that the lender is not making a bad loan on a property that is not worth what the contract price is. So they work entirely for the lender, where the inspector is working for you to get the condition of the house upfront noted so that the buyer understands that and can move forward with an informed decision. And then we had, if anybody else has any other questions, happy to answer what those are. So if anybody watching wants to come on in here, we just had a few questions this last week. Feel free to type them in and I will get them answered. Rates, let me think of where rates are right now. They're still kind of hovering about high 5s, low 6s. And they've been kind of staying consistently there over the last month, which is why I think buyers are feeling comfortable in saying that this is kind of where they are. I can plan that they're going to be here, and they're jumping back into the market. We're still getting stuff under contract. We got one under contract a couple of days ago. We've got a bunch of stuff that's closing this week. We've got some new listings that are hitting the market over the next couple of weeks. There's still a lot of activity in the market right now. So don't believe the headlines that everything's stalled out. Nobody's buying, nobody's selling, nothing's getting accomplished. For our sellers, you have to price it at where the value is. You're not going to be able to price it above the market like you were able to in the first quarter, maybe even the second quarter of this year. You have to price it at value, maybe just a touch under, depending on what your motivation is and your timeline is. So it's, kind of reminiscent of normal real estate from 2015, 2016. I know we've said that a few times, but it's not a bad market when it takes under a month to sell a house. Let's just, kind of forget the last couple of years. That's totally a great market. It's still a slight seller's market when you're looking at numbers in that frame of reference. Our buyer demand is just about equal to what our seller supply is right now. So it's trending like a balanced market, but the speed of it is still acting like a seller's market. The high prices are still acting like a seller's market. We're getting negotiations coming back in. We're getting closing costs paid for. We're getting rate buy downs. We're getting all of those things for our buyers. And it really just depends on which avenue that we go with based on what the client needs are and what your cash situation is. So if you don't have a whole lot of cash, it might be more beneficial to have the seller buy your rate down so the payment is better. If you'd rather have cash in your pocket than getting some of your closing costs covered so that you can save that cash for repairs or whatever inside of the property. If you want to have them make repairs, you can. All of this stuff is back on the table, which is super fun. Negotiation actually is going to matter yet again here in Phoenix. So, hey, Allie, any questions on the market? How is Ohio? Hope things are going well for you. If you have questions, chime in. What else can we say? Got a whole bunch of buyers looking. We've got investors who are able to make some deals again. We've got stuff going on, like I said, in that middle America range for some of our stuff. We've got, what else? Got a couple of listings. So if you know of anybody looking for some horse properties, we have 3 of those right now. Hey, Allie, thank you. Happy to do the updates for you. We've got, what else do we have coming up? We've got an Arcadia, either a teardown or a prime investor opportunity if you want to come in and create your own beautiful house. That one's going to be coming on the market in the next probably 3 weeks. So if anybody wants anything at 56th Street in Thomas, we've got that one coming. We've got a couple of land opportunities down south if you're a developer. We've got the roping facility. The buyer got a little wiggly on that one. So if anybody's interested in that investment opportunity again, and all kinds of stuff going on. So let me know. Otherwise, I'll jump off here in another minute or so. If you have questions, chime in. Hi, Patty. All right, you guys, we will see you in another couple of weeks. And if we didn't get your question answered, just email me or give me a call. and we'll put it on for the next one. So we'll talk to you soon. If you have questions, 480-518-9907, or feel free to email me, Chelsea, CHELSEA, at yourreddoorteam.az, and that should be in the info on both of these pages here on YouTube and Facebook. So we will talk to you soon. Bye.